So it's different. Anyway, coming back to this, right? Halala, as it's commonly known in Urdu, or tahleel, as they call in Arabic. Tahleel can also mean analysis, right? So just, whoa, ease up there. If somebody says, guys, I just want to perform a little tahleel with you, then you're like, whoa. Or you turn up in the bathrobe and the other person's got all their books open. So tahleel in Arabic can mean analysis. Okay, so just to kind of clarify that. Now, the thing is, well, what this means is making something halal. Allah says in the Quran about talaq, that at-talaqu marratan, that, you know, talaq is twice, فَإِمْسَاكٌ بِمَعْرُوفٍ وَتَصْرِيحٌ بِإِحْسَانٍ, and so on and so forth. But then Allah says that, you know, you can do this, and then you can do this talaq, and then فَإِن طَلَّقَهَا مِن بَعْدٍ, then if he divorced her for a final time, فَلَا تَحِلُّ لَهُ حَتَّى تَنْكِحَ زَوْجًا غَيْرًا, then she is not halal for him unless a future marriage of hers was to go to ruins. Okay, now this is really interesting because, right, so what happens now is, let me tell you what's happening now, tell you the rulings, then come back to this. And I think we might have to just kind of wrap up with this really, because right, I can see a lot of questions coming, but this really demands some attention. Okay, so what's happening right now? What's happening is people are giving 3 talaqs. So guys are getting angry, right? So they're like, why is the tea cold? Woman, talaq, talaq, talaq. And then they're like, oh my God, what have I done? I gave you talaq 3 times. Right, so now what do we do? So this is what's actually happening is, and I hope it's not happening, but it is in some places. They're saying, well, the only way I can get married to you now is because Allah says if you divorced her for the 3 times, because the majority of the schools, the majority of the madhabs, have believed that 3 talaqs given in one go count as 3. Right, so the thing is, they count as 3 talaqs. So therefore, it's brought you straight up to speed with this final verse, saying, وَإِن طَلَّقَهَا مِن بَعْدٍ, and if he divorces her after that, فَلَا تَحِلُّ لَهُ, then she's not halal for him. So he's like, uh-oh, now I'm stuck. So they say, well, Allah says, unless another marriage of hers broke down, so let's engineer this marriage. So, and according to the hadith as well, it has to be a proper marriage. So meaning, and a proper marriage was very clear that what do you get married for? Most people, one of the fundamental things is intimacy, sexual intercourse. So there must be sexual intercourse. Okay, so what some people unfortunately have been doing, nutty, they've been saying, okay, we can arrange a halala to take place. So you bring your wife here, so she comes along, we read a quick nikah, right? Qabiltu, I accept. Do you accept? You accept? You accept too? Right? And so what they do is they now go for they say, okay, shall we now shall we spend some time alone, you know, get to know each other in this little time that we have. So they now go off wherever it is, and as you can imagine, nutty stuff, they have to obviously it's all serious, of course. We must now consummate the marriage. Woman, follow after me. Okay, now one must disrobe. So the thing is, look, so this is so what happens is what you're aware of. They go, they have sexual intercourse, then this new husband, he then divorces her. and says, okay, I now pronounce divorce. Talaq, talaq, talaq. She says, oh well, thank you Pati Dev for this, or my part-time Pati Dev. Now I'm going to go back to my first Pati Dev waiting for me outside. So the other husband will probably now be there, or she will now go home, and they will now redo a new nikah, and obviously they'll have to wait for the iddah, the 3 months or whatever, and then things are just normal. Except, like hell will they be normal. I mean, how could that be normal anyway? I mean, I don't know. I mean, because it's so. But anyway, so this is what happens with this halala thing. So the madhabs have said 3 talaqs, generally speaking, 3 talaqs. All have had some differences on this, by the way. That 3 talaqs are 3 if it's happened. And there's been a minority position in all schools of law saying that, look, no, actually, if they were in one context, they only count as 1. But anyway, as a result of this ruling, this is what's happened. And now these women are sleeping with other men, obviously then going back to their husband. And as you can imagine, it's not going to be very... And most of these guys, you have to remember, are going to be incredibly insecure anyway. So they're going to be like, so... So it's going to be like, are you still thinking about him? God, but can you imagine the job of that guy though? Imagine he's a professional, like muhallil, like I'm a professional. He's like, excuse me, I take pride in my work. Right, so it's like, excuse me, can you make an appointment online, please? Because, you know, I only do things professionally, right? So, can you imagine what his job must be like? It's like, boy, I've had a stressful week at work. Can you imagine his family don't know what he does? So he has to come home and go, it's been a crazy day at work. So the thing is, anyway, right, now, the point is, and by the way, and so some places, I remember hearing that some places they say, oh, they're like, oh, can it be like this really, like a really weak man? Can it be like a really weak, kind of like a, oh, like, you know, you look at him really skinny or can it be like an old kind of frail man? Because, you know, you don't want like some strong guy. Imagine like a really manly man comes out, like it's like, it's like, you know, holding a cigar. It's like, you alright, bro? Boy, things would be incredibly awkward after that. But the point is, so I've actually heard where they've said, oh, can it be like a, you know, they've wanted like really weak, like a weak, frail men, or like just borderline, you know, like guys in their late teens or that are still not matured properly. They want something like... But anyway, so what is the ruling on all of this? The ruling on this, strangely enough, most of the madhabs have actually considered this, if engineered, to be haram. The Hanafi madhab did say that, you see, now this is the thing, the Hanafi madhab had some leeway in saying that, well, if the husband wasn't in on it, so if if a friend, hello friend, if a friend did this, set this up with the wife, the ex-wife, just to help that husband get back together with his wife, then it's actually a good thing. So they actually say this, but they say if he did it without plotting it with the husband. So if he did, if I was just feeling friendly, know that, hey friend, are you in need of a friend? So I see. So I see you've divorced your wife. I see you're quite upset. Well, I want you to know I'm a friend. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be contacting your wife. So the thing is, so in the Hanafi madhab, they have this ruling that if the husband did this, if the new husband, the friend husband, right, did this to help his friend or help this person without plotting, without the husband, the first husband, being in on it, on not engineering it with them, then it could actually be a rewardable act. Rewardable I can understand, but religiously rewardable I'm struggling with. Okay, so the thing is, now you'll be surprised. See, Hamza's saying what kind of men would allow a halala, but you'll be surprised because this is where religion gets twisted, you see, because they want, you see, they've got kids, they're too embarrassed to divorce, and they can't live with each other because they've been taught through so much guilt that this is haram, 3 talaqs, zina, you're going to get, this is, everything is impure, you're going to be like this, you're going to be like, so because they tell them all this talk, the scholars do, they get petrified, and they just think, you know what, just do it. Just do it. So the thing is, okay, now that was the backdrop, people. Now I'm gonna reevaluate all of this. Okay, so with you. Now, first of all, I'm gonna say that in line with most of the madhabs, that this what goes on is, I was gonna say bang out of order. It's just utterly out of order, right? So the thing is, this is unacceptable. Slick Mo, hearing all of this, says, bro, why have you got a chain on? Slick! There's a man with his priorities in place. He's hearing of all this calamity, all these issues, and he goes, bro, why have you got a chain on? I like that guy already. He knows, he's focused. Right, so the thing is, anyway, now, right, coming back to this, I believe that this is utterly unacceptable. It leads to, obviously, it leads to not only a ridiculous future for the couple, for the intended couple, not the halala, not the muhallil, and the wife, momentary wife, but the actual first husband. It leads to a ridiculous future for them anyway. It's a misery and a humiliation for the woman, right? But it also ridicules Islam, right, which is utterly unacceptable. So the thing is, because when we're speaking on behalf of Islam, we're speaking on behalf of Allah and His Messenger. And that's something that we don't have, we don't have a right to do, okay? Not in this kind of manner. So I would say, not only would I say that we act upon this minority position, which is that in any like if any number of talaqs were given in one gathering, that they only constitute one. Not only would I say that, and that was the fatwa given by some ulama, they may be a minority, but within all madhabs. So within the Maliki madhab, the recent legendary great mufassir and grand mufti of the Malikiya, Ibn Ashur, his fatwa was that 3 equal 1, that we can take this fatwa for talaq wherever necessary. Before, historically, scholars within the Maliki madhab like Ibn Abd as-Salam, many of the fuqaha of Qurtuba, of Cordova, Muslim Spain, they all said that, right? That and so I'm just giving you these opinions here first, right? The other madhabs as well, Ibn Maqatil from the Hanafi madhab, Abdul Hayy al-Lakhnawi said, look, if there's a custom, you can resort to it. Stuff like this, and other madhabs as well, and other people have said this. That's the first thing. I'm going to say that no matter what the circumstance, no matter what, you must, I feel we are under obligation to find a kind of reparation and salvage that nikah if the couple have a strong resolve to salvage their relationship. Then the scholar is duty bound, in my understanding, to find a way to make it happen. And I believe that, right, that is what Allah has ordained upon the people of knowledge. So if he gave 3 talaqs in one go, then you take that fatwa if they both want to be together. But you can ask them both. If they both say, no, we definitely want to be together, because people don't know about the rulings of Islam. They don't know about the rulings of talaq anymore. They don't understand these things. So we have to make ease for them. If they've given it on separate situations, then find a different dispensation, God damn it. Okay? You find a different fatwa. If they say, I gave it on different things, look, but one of the times she happened to be on a menstrual cycle, then you take that Hanbali fatwa that says that on a menstrual cycle a talaq is invalid, and you apply that. If they say, well, no, it wasn't even that, I did it in a different time, but I was angry, then you take the fatwa of Ibn al-Qayyim and you say, well, okay, then based on that. Look, if the couple have a strong resolve to get back together, you have a duty as a scholar to allow and facilitate that union. This is an obligation upon the people of knowledge. So, especially when the knowledge of Islam is so scarce that people don't have that kind of knowledge of Islam. They don't know the ahkam, they don't know these rulings. Now, why am I saying this? Why am I saying this? Let's go back to the origin. I want to go to the etiology of this problem. Where did this whole musibah, this calamity stem from? Let's take an etiological look, people. Okay, let's go right back to the origin. The origin was that, you see, in early Islam and in the Jahiliyyah time, people would marry and they would divorce. So a husband would divorce his wife and he would say, oh, talaq, I'll give you talaq. So fine, she's divorced. Now she would sit in iddah. So she would have this waiting period of 3 menstrual cycles, let's say. Now, she would wait her iddah, but before the iddah finishes, so let's say it's going to take her, let's just say it's going to take her 3 months, okay. Now, 3 menstrual cycles don't mean 3 months, but let's just say that for simplicity purposes. Now, when she's close to the final one finishing, he would say, oh, I've taken you back, I've done ruju'. Because a husband can revoke any talaq he issues. This is what the Sharia teaches. So he would take her back. So she would now say, oh, okay. Now, the moment he's taken her back, the next day he would say, oh, I'll give you talaq again. So now she would wait another 2-3 months. When she's towards the end of the cycle, he would say, I've taken you back. And he would go like this for 2-3 years maybe. He would have other women, other wives, but this one he would torture her. So she wasn't a free woman. She couldn't go and just marry somebody else. And she wasn't like a wife with him either. So this was unquestionably, undoubtedly, this was dhulm. It was oppression. And Allah condemns this strongly in the Quran. And He says, وَلَا تَذَرُوهَا كَالْمُعَلَّقَةِ, that don't dare leave the woman in that suspended state. As a woman who is suspended. That either marry her or let her go. Imsakum bima'ruf or tasrihum bi ihsan. You either live together kindly or you part ways gracefully. That's how Allah sets the balance. So what happened to safeguard the woman, to safeguard the woman, Allah said, okay, now if he does it a third time, khalas, you don't have any more talaqs to issue. But the question here was, you see, a husband might just do this. He might say, no problem. Because she's vulnerable, when I divorce her the third time, I'll just say to her, hey, listen, you know what, I got a bit carried away. Sorry, I've been thinking about it. Let's just do another nikah. And then she'll probably say, okay, because she'll be on the rebound, let's say, and she'll be vulnerable as well in this scenario. Now, the moment he does the nikah, he does the same thing again. Says, I divorce you again. And now, the same thing. So how do you stop this? So Allah says that to safeguard the woman, He said, look, if you divorce her the third time, it's over, and I tell you what, she can't even marry you again. No. She can only marry somebody else. But okay, in the future, should that relationship break down, she can come back to you. Should she choose to. And Allah uses the verse. Look at the verse. He doesn't say until she is married off. Hatta tankiha. Muhammad, Sheikh, everybody, Sheikh Sidi Iqbal, ahlan wa sahlan, salamu alaikum Sheikhana, at one of the leading and legendary ulama of the UK, an absolute ocean in the Maliki madhab people. If you're not following Sheikh Muhammad Sidi Iqbal, then do so, right? So there he is on Facebook, Sheikh, right? So the thing is, now this thing, right? So to safeguard the woman, Allah is saying, you know what? She cannot marry him again. And the verb Allah uses is tankih. For her, she is the active agent until she marries a husband. Not she's married off. Not that somebody marries her to this. She marries. Hatta tankiha zawjan ghayra. That she marries a different. So this is her choice. Willfully. Her volition. She is embarking on a relationship. Yeah, if that broke down, right? If they, in arada islahan, if the two want to get back together and she wants to marry this husband again, she can. The first one. She marries. Look at this. She is the active agent. So this whole thing was done to safeguard the woman. Because it's the end of game now. It's like you can't really, it kind of kills the game. Because the husband that was kind of treating her like this toy, saying, oh, you're divorced, I'll take you back, you're divorced, I'll take you back. Well, she's gone now. You can't marry her anyway. Islam has stopped it. She's gone with another person. Now, you're not going to do that anyway, and you're not going to have that interest. So, this is what these verses of the Quran came down for. Okay, this is what they were revealed over. Right? This is what they were all about. What's happened is over time, the backlash, unfortunately, maybe not as, obviously that was immense torture that was happening initially. But what's happened is the backlash, the kind of reactionary result, became similarly humiliating for the woman. So, So it went from trying to safeguard the woman, and it landed in a way that it still ended up humiliating the woman. Now this was not happening like this in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, by the way. So in the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, this was not happening like this. But it starts gradually later, a few cases, and then as Muslim civilization develops, this becomes obviously a thing, because Muslims there becomes this culture of talaq. I'll give you talaq, I'll give you talaq. If you do this, talaq. If you do this, talaq. This becomes a whole, and this is something, it's silly, it's petty, right? It's ridiculous. The books of talaq, the book of talaq is the second largest book within the book of Sharia, after Kitab al-Salah. It's Kitab al-Talaq. It's massive. a huge chunk of that is all about people making oaths of talaq. Oh, if this happens, I'll give you talaq. If that happens, I'll give you talaq. People don't need to speak like that. This kind of thing is nonsense. And so what I would advise, as I've said before, that look, Islam is all about welfare, it's all about maslahah, it's all about preserving and safeguarding. Right? The ulama, somebody said there, maybe this was a punishment. Somebody said, maybe, whilst I was speaking, somebody had commented that maybe this was a punishment. Punishment for who? Punishment for the guy? What, like saying, oh, you said talaq. Look, I absolutely condemn people using this kind of language as a threat. Saying to people, like, if a husband says to his wife, oh, I'm going to give you talaq, 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 I'm going to give you talaq, I'm going to give you that. That's just a child. Okay. Yes, I mean, talaq is there. If the relationship is broken, it's broken. But what I'm trying to say is that people who use this, that's unacceptable to start off with. Secondly, if he does use it, more than anything, he's in need of education. Yes, if the woman does not want to go back to him, then you do not need to kind of provide certain fatwa, because the woman is just glad the relationship's over. But if both couple have a strong resolve to get back together, then the woman shouldn't be further penalized and humiliated as a consequence of the husband not being able to, acting like an idiot. So husband says talaq, talaq, talaq. Now she has to go and spend a night with another guy to pay for him. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's absurd by any measure. So as I said, that look, if the couple have a strong, first of all, people shouldn't use these kind of talaq terms in that way. Secondly, if it does happen, then and both couple have a strong resolve to get back together, then I believe that Maulana Mabs, ahlan wa sahlan, then I believe that the shuyukh, that the ulama, especially in our day and age, have an obligation and are duty bound to find for the couple any ruling that will allow them and facilitate this union. Okay, because the whole thing is about trying to, if a family want to stay together, then Islam wants them to stay together. Okay, that's all I can say. Islam is not about breaking homes. It is about making homes. But if it's a different scenario, if a relationship has broken down. If a relationship has broken down, then Islam is not going to impose an artificiality of a home. But where a family wish to stay together, it is absurd to claim that Allah wants them to be apart. That, let no man cleft them asunder, as it says. So the thing is that this has kind of brought a lot of disrepute, unfortunately, onto Islam. There's been that whole, right now it's been in the news and everything, this whole thing. So yes, Allah, may Allah make things easy for people who are going through such circumstances as well. But we really do need a lot more education out there. Right, people, I've gone on for way too long. I'm surprised some of you have hacked it. Right, I'm going to leave you to it, inshallah. Once again, if you are on Facebook and you've not added me before or followed me, then do so. I'm on Twitter as well, same handle, Mufti Abu Layth. On Snapchat as Malm 2014, that's MALM 2014. You can add me, shoot me your questions, inshallah. I do try to respond as much as I can, although right now my voice notes on Facebook Messenger are playing up for some reason, but I do try to respond, inshallah. Other than that, shukran, barakallahu feekum for all your encouragement and support. Right, so that's it. Anything else? Reach out to me, people. Take very good care of yourselves. Till next week, remember me in your kind du'as. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh.